Welcome back to the channel. This is The Casuals. I'm Jin,
And I'm Saki.
and today's episode is Meal for Two. So, gosh, it's been a very long time since, not a very long time actually. The last Meal for Two we had this thing, but it's been a while since we've actually kind of done it consecutively, I guess, which was talking about places that we've ate before. And so, gosh, so we're gonna talk about three different foods or three different places that we went to in a literally span of 2 days. And that in itself was a wild kind of a wild adventure, but yeah. So to get started right away, I guess for context, when me and Saki knew each other a long time ago, I remember that you had mentioned a certain food that had existed somewhat far away from where we used to live, and you're like, we gotta try it one day if we can. And I was like, all right, but during this time both of us didn't have a car, so we had to get a parent to drive us, and that happened to be my mom. And so I guess this would be a better thing for you to talk about because this one is near and dear to your heart more. And you were the one who introduced me to this place. So would you like to, take over?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, this first place we're gonna talk about, my parents have eaten there before because it's been around for a long time. So they've had it and they're like, yeah, it's pretty good. And I was like, oh, what type of food is it? And it's called a meat pie, which is basically it's puff pastry, and then on the inside is a type of meat with like potatoes and vegetables and stuff, and they just wrap it. So it's like good for on the go, like if you're driving, it's not messy and stuff. And so I was like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. And at the time, Jin, I remember you were like, potato? You love you love potatoes, onions, garlic, all that stuff. So
It was
I
a
was like, I
perfect
think you're gonna
match.
like this.
Yeah, it was a perfect match.
It was match made in heaven. And so I was like, we should go try it one day. And so that day came, your mom drove us over, and I believe we got smalls, right? Small, because they have
Yeah.
small and large ones. I think we got two small ones. I got a beef one, and I believe you got chicken last time as well, right?
Yeah.
And so we are like, all right, we got the two smalls, and we're like, let's try it. So we both bit into it, and we are like, oh my goodness, why did we not eat here earlier?
Yeah, dude, it was so good. It was one of those moments where like, oh my god, this existed. Because it was in the most, I guess not most, but like it was in an awkward place, I guess if I had to describe it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the parking lot was tiny.
Yeah.
At the time, there weren't even tables outside.
Yeah, there
Like,
wasn't. It was
so we
just
were just eating kind of on the curb.
yeah. It was just kind of like, so if I had to describe it, it's like there's like, it's on the side of the road, and um, it's kind of like a corner shop, but it's not at the same time. But there's like three other shops in that like row building, like same building type esque deal. And this meat, shop, which is I think called Pasties Kitchen, right?
Yeah, Pasty's Kitchen.
Pasties Kitchen. It's like only a small part of it. It's at the very end, right? So it's a really small place. It's not even like there's no place to sit down and eat in there, like inside. It's literally just the kitchen. You could see through the window of them making it. Like that's how small it is, and you know, it's not like, well, if you live in like California and most modern, I would say more mid and west areas, typically a lot of the restaurants are situated in plazas, right? So there is a place to park, and then there's a bunch of like restaurants or stores in this kind of plaza area, and then you would go in and you would dine in and everything like that, right? But this place wasn't anything like that. It was literally just like to the side of the road. You go there and you order something, you get something, and then you eat outside, like in your car, or you take it back home. Uh, so it was really, really strange in terms of like the experience that I've had before up to that point.
Yeah, it was a lot different back then. We went, what, like at least 8 years ago?
Yeah, I want to say when I was in, I think, still in middle school, I want to say.
Oh, so we're getting closer to 9 to 10 years then.
Yeah.
So it was a
Um,
long time, so it's changed.
yeah.
There's now seating. They do fruit pies, like little. Are they called turnovers?
I think they're just called pies.
Just pies.
No, they were called turnovers. They were called turnovers.
I think yeah. I was gonna say I thought they were turnovers, and then they expanded, and now they have like a frozen ones where you could just buy a pack and take them home, so you don't have to come out.
Yeah.
So that's all new, and I thought that was great that they're expanding. You know, they're still around after how many years, which is awesome. This little, literally hole in the wall shop.
Yeah.
You could fit like 3 people in there, like customers at a time. It's that small.
Yeah. And I think what's even great is that when we ate it again, right? We were so excited because it had been literally years since we've been both been there. Um, and we never really had like we've always we kind of mentioned it one off. I remember we've talked about it before, like, oh, we should go to Pasties, um, like once or twice in the past year or so. But we never committed because one, it was really far away from us in terms of like what we usually would do.
Yeah, it's kind of out of the way now.
Yeah, I want to say 30 minutes, 40 minutes almost usually.
Probably around like 30, yeah.
So it's like it's good. As in our memories, it was precious to us, but it wasn't that precious enough to necessitate a 30-minute drive there only for that food. Until we finally had an excuse to go there, so we're like, let's do it, right? Let's do it.
Yep.
So walk in, exactly the same in terms of like the smell and everything, how they operated. We go out and we take that first bite, and it was just
It was heaven.
it was exactly the way I remembered it. What about you?
Yeah, I don't think they even changed the recipe at all. It was just. Oh, and what's great is you can get gravy on the side if you wanted.
Yeah, you can.
I remember last time we got the gravy, and you
Yeah.
were just like, oh my gosh, even the gravy's good.
Oh yeah, I remember. And you got the beef again, and I got the chicken again.
Yep.
And I have to say though, like in terms of what I thought was better, I think honestly the chicken was better. Just slightly ever so. They're both pretty equal, but like slightly ever so the chicken was better for me.
See, I thought the beef was better. There was a little more flavor for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like I would probably eat the chicken if I got the gravy.
I see. And I remember
Well,
eating it, and I was like, this tastes so familiar. And I was like, wait a minute, this tastes exactly like fucking chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, you did. It was basically chicken noodle soup without the noodles, but encased in a puff pastry.
Yeah, it. I just loved it. And I remember we were just sitting here and we're just like, yeah, that's the stuff.
Oh yeah, it was a great experience to finally go back after all these years.
And
And then we also tried the pie.
yeah, we did. We tried the turnover, and then I think we went with apple.
Yeah, we had the apple turnover. We split it in half, and holy smokes, even those were really good.
It was because here's my thing. I don't really like fruit pies in general, just because usually they have too much tartness in it. I'm not a big fan of tart or sour tastes, or profiles rather, and so I'm usually adverse to, having tart flavors. But this one was actually not that tart. It didn't have that much tart in it. It was it was still very like, apple tasting. And so it was very enjoyable to eat,
Yeah. The turnover, the apples weren't like overcooked, so they still had a little bit of a crisp bite to it.
Yeah, crunch.
A little crunch in there, plus the brown sugar, whatever, like syrup they put in there to make it sweet. And then we also got the frosted one, so that made it even better.
Yeah, it was so good. And I think up to that point we were kind of starving because a lot of things happened. We ended up going later than expected, going to Pasty's kitchen later than expected, and so we were like, we gotta eat something. Like we were on that like I would like food now, and so when we finally got it, it was even more of a blissful experience to like bite into that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we were like maybe an hour off of when we were supposed to eat.
Yeah.
So I knew, I was like, I'm gonna get a headache, and then I'm gonna get very cranky if I don't eat soon. And so once we sat down, I'm like, I'm just gonna dig in, dude.
Yeah.
I was not gonna wait for that. I was
You
like,
were not waiting. You literally just dug in straight away before I could even take the first bite.
and they're hot because they pull them straight out of the oven as you order, so
Yeah.
they're still nice and hot.
I still think about it.
The flakiness of the puff pastry, the seasonings in there, you know, the potatoes. I think there were potatoes, carrots, and onions or something in it.
Yeah. Mine had celery, which was slightly different than yours, because in terms of vegetable fillings, I think yours had carrot and onion.
Carrot, onion, and potato, and yours had carrot, onion, potato, celery.
Yeah, and I think that's what really pushed it to the chicken noodle soup territory, you know?
Yeah, it has that flavor profile to it.
Yeah. Overall, I would say, honestly, like, I thought I was gonna get slightly disappointed because one, we kind of expected this prices to be way more than they were. Honestly, it's pretty cheap still. It's like $3.
No, it was 5 for a small and like 8 for a large.
Or wasn't it 4? I'm pretty sure it was 4.
It was like $4.95, you know, plus tax.
Was it? I forget. I
Yeah,
could've-
they're about $5 a piece, which still isn't bad compared to like 10 years ago when they were like probably $3 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd spend the $5 for it.
Yeah, 100%. And so,
Every-
what's it called? I still think it's a 5 out of 5 for me.
Oh yeah, by far, 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
If we're in that area, we should definitely just go.
Yeah. Plus, they have seasonal stuff, like specials. So I really want to go back there and try it again.
That's right. I forgot they started doing seasonal stuff.
Yeah,
Before it was just chicken and beef, but now, I guess since they're, technically growing, even though their shop hasn't grown, you know, in size, but they're expanding their menu, and so now, yeah, they're doing seasonal flavors.
I think you were kind of disappointed because we had just missed about by 1 or 2 weeks their chorizo version.
Yeah, I love chorizo, and we were off by I think literally like a week, and I was like, dang, we just missed it. But then again, we didn't know since we haven't been there like 10 years.
So yeah, this is definitely like if you're ever in California, you've known a place called, if you hear about a Pasties Kitchen, do give it a try. Again, okay, realistically though, like in true realistic terms, it's not gonna be blow your mind out food.
Oh yeah, no.
However, it is just comforting good food. That's what it is at its core. And
Comfort food.
yeah, and you know, in the world of fast food, the Pasties Kitchen is something like, you know, nice, you know.
It's like superior over like McDonald's or those other fast food chains.
Yeah, so in retrospect, you know, compared to maybe if you were to go to a really nice place, you know, obviously it's not gonna hold to compare, but this is like, you know, common food. And it's done so well. I don't think they've ever really changed the recipe. They know what they're doing and they'll keep at it.
Yeah, that's how you keep business. Why if something's, you know, working, why would you change it?
Oh yeah, and business, dude. There was people constantly there.
Oh yeah, there was like all the tables were full when we got there. Parking lot was packed. There was probably like 4 people in front of us and behind us. It was crazy.
It was around lunchtime too, like 1 or 12 or 1 I think when we got there. And then by the time we finished eating, you know, a lot of people were gone, but there were still people going in and ordering even after lunchtime.
Yeah. Even after on the weird hours.
So yeah, if you're ever in Pasties in Cypress, California, it's not in Pasty, but if you're ever in Cypress, California, go do give a, you know, Pasties Kitchen a try. We endorse it so much. Like, it's lovely. It's a very nice experience.
Very nice experience compared to the next place,
Compared to the next one,
which was honestly quite the opposite.
yeah. And to I guess set an expectation. It wasn't horrible. It was just very disappointing.
Extreme to me, extremely disappointing.
Yeah. And so the next one we're gonna talk about is Nilly's. I think it's called just Nilly's Burgers or something like that. Nilly's.
Nellie's or something. Nellie's Burgers or something.
Yeah, Nellie's
like that.
Burger or Nellie's Kitchen. I think.
I don't know.
Nellie's Burger. Anyways, Nellie's Burger. So it's been around for quite a bit, I think. And I've always toyed with the idea of going in because it's a burger place, right?
How can you screw up a burger?
Yeah, and you know, it was kind of pricey when I saw the menu prices, but I was just like, you know, it seems like popular. It's like rated 4.7 on Google for some reason. And This is probably one of the very few instances where Google's pretty, or I would say the people of Google who did the Google review are pretty wrong in that sense.
To us, they were wrong.
Yeah, to us. For other people, maybe they may be right, but it's been there, and it's like, kind of like a local, burger place. I was like, hey, why not try it? It's a local burger place, why not try? Well, we get to find out, right? And plus, we were coming off of the Pasties kitchen experience, so we were kind of happy. And you're like, and usually, normally, you're kind of pensive about this kind of stuff, just because you have that instinct where like it's probably not gonna be as good as you think, or it's not gonna be as good as I would think. But you were like, you know what? I had Pasties kitchen. I had the meat pie. I'll go with it. I'll entertain that idea. That's what you were feeling that time, weren't you?
Yeah, I was just like, you know what? We're having a good day. Why not give it a try too? Because I was getting hungry again. Because Pasties is, it's not huge, and it was like 2 hours later, so I was getting a little hungry again.
Yeah, and so we go, and it's really small. The shop is really small. Smaller than I expected, to be honest. And I think one surprising thing for us was there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, honestly, thinking on it now, that was surprising. Like, why are so many people eating this place? It's not even that good. It's more hyped up than it should be.
Yeah, and I'll preface saying this, the food wasn't that great. However, I do want to give credit where it's due. The staff were working their ass off.
Customer service was better than the food.
Yeah, and the one who was on the grill, props to her. She was like hustling hard.
They were all hustling, man. One girl was there were two females working the grill, and then one guy was kind of putting orders together. So these two girls were hustling because it was packed. And then the phone rang for like a good 10 minutes straight. So he just took off the grill and was like, I gotta take, the phone calls. And so she left the one person on the grill, and honestly, it was impressive.
Yeah, I kept on looking at her working at the grill. I was just like, jeez, I can't do like even half of what she's doing. And mind you, she's also taking the proper sanitation procedures, right? Discarding gloves every time she touches raw meat, putting a new glove on and everything.
Yep.
So that she was hustling. Anyways, it took a while, like maybe 10 minutes to get our food, and then, so we did to go just because we weren't gonna eat in that small place. No way. So we went home and ate it, and honestly, at first I was like, oh, this ain't bad. It wasn't particularly great, but I was just like, it's not bad. And then you took a bite, and you were like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, so first let's go over, I guess,
the order. Food. Yeah, the order.
So we got a single burger, so one patty, meat patty.
Mm-hmm.
And I got fries, because, I don't know, I like fries with my burger. So I got an order of fries as well.
Mm-hmm.
The burger itself was a little bit bigger than like a King's Hawaiian sweet roll, but smaller than In-N-Out. So it was tiny, and it was like close to $8, which I thought was just outrageous. And then the fries were like $4, but it was a good amount. Still a little overpriced, but. And then I took that first bite. There really isn't much to their burger. It was meat, some grilled, like sauteed onions, pickles, and some mustard, and that was it. But when I took that first bite, all I tasted was mustard. That the meat was not seasoned, even though I saw seasoning go on it, like salt. It didn't taste like anything. The onions didn't taste like anything. All you tasted was mustard and pickle.
Yeah.
And that was kind of disappointing, especially for the meal being like $15.
Yeah. I didn't realize it just because I kind of like that flavor profile. I don't mind that flavor profile, rather to say, right?
I love mustard too, but when it's only mustard taste is where I'm like, I need a little other flavor going on here.
And so I took a second bite and I was like, wait a minute, you're right. It really only tastes like mustard and pickles. And so I was like, well then, that's kind of disappointing. I feel like had they salted it more, I feel like you would have actually tasted the meat. Because when you don't put salt on meat, you don't taste anything.
They didn't put salt on meat. They put salt on the onion, the raw onion, and then they just like let it grill.
Yeah, that's what they
So the
did.
onion got salted, but it wasn't even salty. Because
Yeah.
I kind of disassembled it. So I tried the meat on its own, no flavor. It was just like literally grilled hamburger meat. And that was it. Onions I tasted, they weren't like have that onion flavor. It kind of felt like they diluted it in water to take out some of that strong flavor of
Yeah.
the onion. So if that didn't really have much, there was a crunch to it, which was nice, but it didn't really help it, and it didn't hurt it either. So it was just kind of there. And then they jam packed it with like 5 pickles on that tiny little roll, and then I think covered the top bun in mustard. Like you could probably not even tell there was a bun there.
Yeah. So overall, the burger itself was extremely disappointing. Um, Fries, they were pretty salty.
Fries were actually good because they were properly seasoned.
Yeah. So, honestly, there's not much to say. It was just a disappointing experience overall. It's not worth the price of $15 for a burger and fries.
For that size too.
Yeah. So I think we both agreed on the rating of like 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, and I was being generous.
The,
I
the
probably
gen-
would have
yeah.
admitted to.
Yeah, the generous part was because, the people there working, really, working their asses off.
Yeah, they were hardworking, not gonna lie. I mean, just to me and maybe Jin, we weren't super impressed.
We were,
I
I
mean,
was
if
not.
you should, I mean, if you like that, go ahead and try it. Like, we're not saying never go here. It's just we probably won't go back.
Yeah, probably never. And I remember you didn't really have a high opinion. You were just like In-N-Out's whatever, and you were like, even In-N-Out's better than this.
Yeah, and I don't crave or care for In-N-Out, but once I ate that, I'm like, damn, In-N-Out sounds like leagues better than this.
And it's like 3 times cheaper.
Yeah, like a double from In-N-Out's like what, $6?
Yeah. And
And that
it's
one
jam-packed.
Yeah, and that one tiny thing was more than that. It was $7.50 plus tax.
Yeah, and plus, In-N-Out has all that customization you can do, but that's a whole different thing. But just basically, Double was cheaper than a single cheeseburger at Nelly's.
Yeah, the double was 10, and I was like, no, I'm not paying 10 for this.
Yeah. So overall, yeah, just...
I would say if it was like $3,
Mhm.
maybe 4, I
Mhm.
would get it, but not 7.5. Definitely not 7.5.
Not worth at all. And so, that concludes that one. And here comes a good one. And something we've been kind of addicted to recently.
Oh yeah, I think
Uh-huh.
we went twice in the last week.
Yeah, I went 3 times, by the way.
Oh, that's right, you went 3 times.
Yeah. So there is a place nearby us, that is called California Baja Fish Tacos. And you had experience at this place before. You have eaten at this place before, but it was under a different name. I guess, would you like to, talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So this California Baja fish taco what used to be called Senor Baja, and this was there since I think my dad was growing up, so it's been there a long time, and I guess they switched owners. But we used to get their fish tacos pretty often, and then I don't know why we stopped. We just stopped getting them for years, and then you suggested we try this place. I'm like, oh, I know that place. It used to be called Senor Baja. And so I was like, I wonder if the quality's still the same. So we went, and we got fish tacos. The first time we went, we got fish tacos and chorizo tacos,
Yeah.
one each. And by golly gee willikers, no, it was like $3 a taco. It was definitely worth.
Fish
The
tacos.
meat was so there's so much flavor on the meat. The fish was like fresh, like freshly fried. And then the sauce with the little cabbage on shredded cabbage just complemented each other so well.
Yeah. And, as the name would suggest, Senior or like California Baja Fish tacos, they're kind of specialized in more seafood based, food.
Yeah.
So as expected, I really, really liked their fish tacos. And my God, like I think their fish tacos was one of the best parts about them because of how good it was.
Yeah, it's hard to beat. Like we ordered, and They literally started cooking it right away,
Yeah.
like made to order. Nothing's like sitting there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And then that was the first time we were like, we gotta come back here again. And so today, quite literally today, just a couple hours ago, we were like, I was like, hey, we gotta go eat again. And you were like, I'm down. And so we decided to go today.
Yeah, I texted you like halfway through work. I'm like, I'm so over this week. Want to get fish tacos? And you're like, hell yeah.
And so, we met up. You had to wait a little bit because of traffic, because I had to go through traffic. But finally, we met up and we went in and we decided to get shrimp burrito because you had talked about the shrimp burrito before, and you were like, "That's what I remember the most, the shrimp burrito." And I was like, you know what? Might as well try the shrimp burrito. And that shrimp burrito came out fast.
Yeah, we ordered in like 2. Well, you got a lot of food to go too.
Yeah.
So we initially ordered a shrimp burrito, a shrimp quesadilla, and 2 fish tacos.
Yeah.
But I was only eating the burrito with Jin because he was taking the other food to his family.
Yeah.
So we sat down, and I think like maybe 2 minutes later it was ready.
Yeah. And so
the guy who took our order, he's like, "Hey, it's ready," and I'm like, "I just sat down." I'm like, "What?" And so I grabbed him, like, "Yeah, it's ready." And so I was like, "All right, let's eat this burrito." So you cut it in half, and I almost did like a toast.
Yeah.
And the first bite. You want to talk about your first bite?
So the first bite. So I honestly did not know what to expect coming from a shrimp burrito. Mainly because one, I was still recovering from the ecstasy of fish tacos. And so I honestly was just like, is the shrimp burrito even gonna be really that good? Like I feel like a shrimp or fish taco or fish burrito would have been better, right? And I was just thinking along those lines. I wasn't really like hyped about the shrimp burrito. I was curious, and I was like, I didn't smell anything or anything. I just kind of went in right away. And so that first bite, so we're gonna talk about this soon in the future, but there's an anime called Shokugeki no Soma, or colloquially known as Food Wars.
Oh gosh.
And in those scenes, because it's anime, when people eat good food, they suddenly get transported into another world. And in Food War anime, it's kind of comical in how it does things, right? They get transported to a new world and they're just like, it's so heavenly, right? Yeah. I swear to God, that same experience happened to me when I bit into that shrimp burrito. And it wasn't the fact that, it was like, heavenly or anything. Don't get me wrong, it's good. It wasn't heavenly, but it was good, right? The thing that got me the most was the shrimp. Like, the moment I bit into it, it was like, shrimp! You know what I mean? Or not shrimp. Yeah, it was like shrimp. And I was like, oh my god, I got attacked by shrimp. And so I momentarily got transported being surrounded by shrimp. And I was just like, whoa. And I looked at you and I was like, you gotta try this, right? And so you took a bite. What was your experience?
Because disclosure, I had this shrimp burrito when it was still Senior Baja, before they changed owners. But back then it was good. But this time I took a bite and I'm like, oh my god, it's got beans, rice, shrimp, and like the fixins of like the fish tacos we talked about earlier inside the burrito. And I was just like, I pretty much got transported to that other world. But I was just like, oh my gosh, it's better than I remember.
And I remember the whole time we were just eating, we were just nodding at you like, we were just like,
Yep. We were literally just looking at each other like, yep, this is it. We found it.
It's we just kind of both silently agreed first, and then we said it out loud. We're like, we're coming back here regularly. There's no way we're not gonna miss out on this anymore.
Yeah, we neglected it for so many years, and then we tried it, and it was better than our expectations.
Oh man, but yeah, it was such a good experience, and we're planning to go back tomorrow. By the way, as of this recording, we're planning to go back literally tomorrow.
We don't have a problem, I swear.
Yeah, we have a problem with this. So overall, nostalgia hit hard with Pasty's Kitchen. Really good experience, 5 out of 5. We went to Nellie's Burgers, whatever, Nellie's Kitchen. Was very disappointing. 2.5 out of 5. Went to Senior or California Baja Fish Grill.
Shot
5
up
out of
back to a
5.
5. Yep. Shot straight from like a 5 to a 2.5, right back to the 5.
Yeah. And I do believe that California Baja Fish Tacos is a franchise. There's only like 3 other stores, or locations, but it's technically a quote-unquote franchise. So if you ever happen to find it, you know, go give it a try. Maybe the other locations will be really good. And so
I agree.
You know, it's so good, so good. I still think about it. It's so good. And so yeah, you know, oh, it's also worth the price. The burrito was kind of like on the more expensive side, like a little bit more on the expensive side for what you get. Like, for example, like
It was seafood, so
Yeah.
seafood's a little more pricey here.
yeah, so like, to give an like you know just a generic example, when I got a burrito from another place, it was like $8, right? But it was freaking huge. Freaking huge burrito. Here, it's very moderately sized. It's still more than enough for one person. And maybe even two, depending on, you know, how much you eat. But I feel like it's way more than enough for one person. But that shrimp burrito costed $11, again, because it is shrimp. And there was plenty of shrimp in there, mind you.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like, you know, 1 or 2 shrimps, you know?
I think my half had at least 4.
Yeah, I think my other half also had 4. So they at least put quite a bit of shrimp. And as we told you, that shrimp flavor came through, you know?
It did come through. May I add one more thing?
Oh, go ahead.
So that shrimp flavor he's talking about, my first bite, I didn't get the shrimp. I took a bite on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I just got beans, rice, and like the flavoring, but the shrimp still punched me in the face. It still went through the whole burrito, even though I didn't like bite into a shrimp itself.
Yeah. But still, worth the price. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. So yeah, that is, you know, the 3 restaurants that we talked about. And we hope you give those 2 a try, which is Pasty's Kitchen and, you know, California Baja Fish Tacos. Hopefully we'll have more stories in the future, you know, just like this, where we were just, like, you know, kind of amazed when, you know, we've had somewhat, like, nervous expectations, I guess. Because, you know, for you, both of them were nostalgia. For me, one of them was nostalgia and, you know, unknown. The unknown, you know? So yeah, it was a great experience all around, though, I would say.
It's always the hole in the walls that are good, most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
I forgot Nellie's is kind of a hole in the wall too, but
Yeah. But yeah, you know, we're getting to the end of the episode. So, you know, I'll end things off here. So I'm Jin.
and I'm Saki.
And this is the Casuals, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.